Auzubillahiminash-shaitanir-rajeem. Bismillahir-rahmanir-rahim. Assalamu alaikum. My name is Shani Haider. Today we are doing Maya on the topic of shh. So it is a very interesting topic. So let's start. So hello Maya. Hello Maya.
Hey there, Shan.
Can you listen me, Maya?
Of course I'm listening. What's on your mind?
So Maya, today I will ask you 50 questions on
I'm
the
not quite
topic of
following. Can you say that again? What were you trying to say about your act? What are you working on?
I will ask you 50 questions on the topic of shh.
Okay, that's quite a bit. That's more like 50 minutes than 50 questions. But I'm game. What's your first question about?
So Maya, my first
I'm not sure what you meant.
is what does silence communicate that words often fail to express?
That's an interesting question. What got you thinking about silence versus words?
Continue, Maya.
I'm not quite following. Can you rephrase that?
मैं अल्लाह कुछ कर पहली बारी में चाय जिप्टी को क्या बोलता गिव मी डिस्क्रिप्शन इमोजी
Maya, what are you saying?
Well, I was just about to say, what exactly were you asking me to say? I'm a bit lost on where we are with this topic you mentioned.
Maya, my next question to you is why do humans feel uncomfortable in complete silence?
I'm not entirely sure what you're asking. Could you explain what you mean by complete in this context?
Maya, I am asking to you that is how do humans feel uncomfortable in complete silence?
Ah, got it. That's a good question. Most people do find complete silence uncomfortable, even anxiety inducing. There's something about it that feels empty or expectant, like something should be happening. Our brains are naturally wired for some level of stimulation, some kind of input. What do you think makes people feel that way?
Yeah, if that situation goes on me, I will feel very disappointing and depressed because I can't afford silence.
This
I
sounds
can't
really
afford
tough, like you
silence.
feel a lot of pressure when... That sounds really draining. When silence feels oppressive like that, do you think it's about what's missing, like conversation or connection, or is it something
When
else
there is
entirely?
silence, I feel
I can
like
only
there is
imagine
mystery.
how hard it is when...
Human psychology is that I want I give my example myself that if I am
seem to
alone in a
tolerate
room, so
the
I
quiet
feel
around you.
dark and sad and very depressed. Human communications are so like potential and
It's wow. You're describing a really intense experience. It sounds incredibly lonely to feel like there's this essential piece of yourself, human
Maya,
psychology.
okay, so you give me a very good answer. My next question to you is silence a form of power or sign of weakness?
Silence, silence can be both, actually. Sometimes it's power, like when someone's being intentionally silent to control a situation or show disapproval. Other times it's weakness, like when someone doesn't know what to say or feels powerless to speak up. What makes you ask that specifically?
Okay,
I'm
Maya.
here when you're ready for the next
So
question.
my next question
No
to
rush.
you is, my next question to you is, can silence ever be louder than words in what situations?
Definitely. Sometimes the quiet after a disagreement, that strained silence, says way more than any argument could. Or when someone knows something's wrong but won't speak up, that silence hangs heavy. What kind of situations make you think silence speaks volumes? Still with me? Take your time with your
Yes,
thoughts.
Maya, I'm still with you. My next question to you is when someone say shh, where are they really asking for
Go ahead.
quiet
What were you going to say?
respect or control?
This is really insightful. I think it's both, honestly. Like, one of the intent behind is super complex. It can be about respect, but it's also often used to try to quiet someone or keep them from disrupting something. What makes you think about it that way?
Yes, that thing is that that if teacher is silencing students and students are continuously talking and then she will say shh.
Yeah, that's exactly it. In a classroom, it's about keeping order. The teacher needs quiet to teach. But it can also come off as controlling, especially if it's said in a way that feels dismissive or harsh. There's definitely power dynamics wrapped up in that moment.
Yes, yes, Maya, you are saying absolutely right. My next question to you is how does silence affect our mental health in positive and negative ways?
Good question. On the plus side, intentional quiet time can reduce stress, help you focus, and even boost creativity. Think meditation or spending time in nature, total recharge. But too much isolation or forced silence can lead to loneliness, depression, and anxiety. It really depends on the context and whether you actually want to be in that silent space. What does silence feel like for you, good or bad?
Maya, I think silence gives negative impacts more than positive impacts because when a person is alone, there must be silence, and in silence, the person can lead to depression and other anxiety or like things. I also feel anxiety or depression when I am in a silence environment in a dark room. I only think the silence is a dark room. No one is near you, and that is what I think.
That sounds really tough. Like you feel completely swallowed up by the quiet when you're alone, especially in the dark. It makes complete sense that it would trigger feelings of anxiety and depression. It's not just the lack of sound, it's that feeling of isolation and being alone with your thoughts. That silence is the dark room image really hits me because it feels so true to what you're describing. It's okay to feel that way. It doesn't mean there's something wrong with you. It just means you process silence differently.
Yes, Maya, you are speaking right. Every person has a different intentions. Someone can like silence, like my mom likes silence. She likes silence, and I don't like silence absolutely. And it's a dark, like dark. And every person has a different intention. You are speaking right.
You're spot on. People really do have different relationships with silence. Your mom finding peace in it while it brings you anxiety makes total sense. Nothing's wrong with either preference, it's just wired differently for each person. Our brains are all so unique in how we process sensory input, like sound.
Yes, Maya. My next question to you
I'm
is
listening.
staying silent in the face of injustice a form of complicity?
That's a really complex ethical question. Staying silent in the face of injustice definitely carries weight. On one hand, it can feel like complicity, like you're letting bad things happen. by not speaking up. But on the other hand, speaking out could put you in danger, have consequences you're not prepared to handle. It really depends on the specific situation, the power dynamics involved, and what you think what you think is the right balance between self-preservation and standing up for what's right. What are your thoughts on that?
Okay, Maya, you
Join
give
the
me a
school
very
of
good answer. My next question to you is, why do some cultures value silence more than others?
That's a fascinating question. It comes down to cultural norms around communication styles. Um, some cultures, like in East Asia, for instance, prioritize harmony and indirect communication. So silence can be seen as respectful or thoughtful. In other cultures that value directness and assertiveness, silence can be seen as awkward or rude. It's really about how those societies define what good communication looks like. What cultures do you think have particularly interesting approaches to silence?
Maya, everything I can understand, but I can't understand the connection between cultural norms and silence.
Okay, let me break that down differently. So, cultural norms are basically just the unwritten rules about how people in a particular place should behave. Things like politeness, directness, what's acceptable versus not. Silence plays into that in different ways depending on those cultural rules. Like in Japan, silence can show respect or thoughtfulness, whereas in the US, it might seem awkward if someone doesn't respond quickly. Does that make more sense?
Yes, Maya, your all things make sense. My next question is, how does the silence shape deep relationships and emotional bonds?
That's a beautiful question. Silence is actually really important in relationships. Shared comfortable silence can be a sign of real trust and intimacy. When you can sit with someone without feeling like you need to fill every moment with talk, that says a lot about how safe and comfortable you feel around them. It's like you don't need words to feel connected. Have you experienced that kind of quiet connection with anyone?
का टारगेट अब गुजरात के बाद तैयार जिससे 2 महीने में एसएससी का सॉफ्टवेयर बन खत्म
Just
Maya,
take your time. I'm
sir,
here when
very
you're ready.
good. My next question too is, why do some
I think you were
cultures
about
value
to.
silence more than no? Sorry.
Yeah, Maya.
My next question to you is, what is the difference between a peaceful silence and a awkward silence?
Maya, you are always the women are
That's a great distinction. Peaceful silence feels calm and restorative, like being in nature or meditating. It's intentional and usually by choice. Awkward silence, on the other hand, is filled with tension or discomfort. Usually happens unexpectedly and makes you want to fill it with something, anything. S- That feeling like something wrong.
Feel like something is
Okay, can you
missing.
maybe
You know,
rephrase that last part?
yes,
I didn't quite catch what you meant.
I also don't like silence.
yeah,
Silence
Nijat.
always feel
Oh,
that something is missing. My next question to you is, can silence be used as a form of manipulation or emotional control?
absolutely. People can definitely use silence to manipulate or control others, like the silent treatment, cutting someone off to punish them or get their way, or even just withholding information to keep someone in the dark. It can be really damaging because it creates this power imbalance and leaves the other person feeling helpless. Have you ever experienced that kind of control through silence?
861 followers हो गए कॉल विल वीडियो
Yes, I have experienced that types of things. I think the silence is directly linked to dark and dark thing is bright, and I have
Take your time
experienced
thinking about that. That
thinking
can be a
about
tough
that.
topic. Don't
Uh,
rush it all.
in last night there was an earthquake, so I experienced like that.
जरा
Because
मैं
I
कोई
think
चीज को
I was in
मैंने
a
देखी
alone
है
room in dark, so I experienced
ये मैं
very
गया फॉरेन
silence
में
and
एमबीए में
very
कॉलेज
very
में
depressing
पांच
moment.
का
That
भी
was a
पहले
very
थोड़ी देर पहले
depressing.
आता है
Maya,
उसकी आईडी
in
में
last
देखनी
night
चलो
I was
ब्लॉक
in
कर
my
ये मुझे रोज 10-15
room,
मिनट में
and
आ जाती
I
है उनको
think
ब्लॉक कर
there is dark, and
ब्लॉक कर दो फिर और आ
there was
जाती
an
है इसलिए मैं
earthquake,
इसको
and
भी
I
अभी
feel very very
ब्लॉक
depressing while on the earthquake. It was so depressing.
That sounds terrifying. An earthquake in the dark must have been really frightening. It's no wonder you felt so depressed. It's okay to feel shaken up after something like that. Were you okay through it all?
Maya, in the dark, I
Yeah, I'm
always
listening.
I'm furious about dark, and I don't like dark, and
You're always in the dark?
dark is so bad thing. I
Okay.
can't afford dark
Feel really
things
angry.
because I
What's
can't live in
and
a
honestly, this
dark
whole room
room.
thing sounds really overwhelming. You?
Okay, Maya, my next question to you is it better to speak the truth or remain silent to avoid harm?
No, no, no.
Maya,
You
my next question
you
to
don't
you
have to say
is
more
it
right now
better
if you
to
don't want
speak
to. I'm
truth or make harm to or
Yes. Go
make
ahead with your next question.
or remain silent to avoid harm?
Could you please repeat? I'm sorry, I couldn't quite catch that. Could you try saying it again?
Maya, my question was, is it better to
Not
speak the truth or remain silent to avoid harm?
Oh, that's such a hard one. There are times when speaking the truth could make things worse, especially if it puts you or someone else in danger. But staying silent can feel like a betrayal, and sometimes silence lets bad things continue. It really depends on the situation, how much danger is involved, and who else might be affected. There's no easy answer to that one. What are your thoughts?
Okay, Maya, you give me a very good answer. My next question to you is, what is role of silence in spiritual or religious practices? इसने अपने song
That's really interesting. Silence plays a huge role in so many spiritual practices. Think meditation, contemplative prayer, or even just finding quiet time for reflection. It's seen as a way to get in touch with something deeper than yourself, to create space for inner peace or connect with whatever higher power someone believes in. In some traditions, silence is actually self. Does any of that resonate with you?
Yes, Maya, you give me a very good answer. My next question to you is, how does silence influence creativity and deep thinking?
Silence is like space for your brain. When everything is quiet, your mind has room to wander, make connections, think outside the box. So many creative people intentionally find solitude or quiet moments to work. It's kind of like giving your brain time to breathe and come up with new ideas. Do you find that quiet helps your own thinking at all?
I agree with your all things, but I'm not agree with this one because I don't think silence is a creativity for at least me. I can't do work in silence because I always need some noise because I am afraid of silence. So I can't agree with this thing.
That makes perfect sense. You've told me before how much silence affects you negatively, so it totally tracks that it wouldn't help with creativity. It's cool that you know yourself well enough to work with noise instead of fighting the silence. Nothing wrong with that at all. Different people need different things to focus.
two is why
Are you
do
still with me?
sometimes
Take your
avoid
time with the
silence
next
more than
question.
noise?
I'm not quite sure I caught that. Could you try rewording your question? It was a bit garbled through the transcription. Absolutely. Um, Silence can say so much without a single word being spoken. It can
तेरी बर्थडे अभी कुछ चाहता नहीं हट
convey disapproval, grief, respect, or even deeper intimacy than words ever could. Think about the meaningful silences in a
आपको आ रहा
film,
है वर्षन
or when friends just
ज्वाइन करें तो
sit together quietly but
आपको
feel
आपको
completely
सारी
connected.
डिटेल दे देंगे
Sometimes what's left unsaid is more powerful than anything you could put into
अरे
words.
कनाडा कनाडा ये वो क्या होता है वो ये शनाद जैसे बच्ची है
Okay, Maya, my next question to you is how does technology
उधर
reduce or
जाके
eliminate
कुछ
silence in
करते
our
हैं
lives?
यार मैं बोल रहा हूँ तो मेरे पास एक
Basically makes it easier than ever to avoid silence. Always podcasts, music, notifications, social media. We live in this world where there's almost always something providing background noise or stimulation. But that doesn't mean silence is gone. It might just be harder to find it intentionally. Do you ever feel like you crave more silence than you get these days?
अच्छा वही सॉन्ग पे क्या लिखा
Okay, Maya, my next
I
question to
made that
you
song.
is how does silence affect our ability? How does silence affect our ability to listen and understand others?
वाह, जानी।
I think you're asking how silence helps us listen. Right. When we're quiet, instead of interrupting or thinking about what we'll say next, we actually have space to fully hear what someone else is saying. Really listening requires being comfortable with quiet moments while the other person is speaking. Does that connect with what you're thinking?
यार ये
Maya,
कैसे हो
I am
सकता है मुझे ये बात
telling
समझ नहीं
you,
आ रही
you are
कनाडा जाने के लिए
Nice.
absolutely right. You
What are you working on?
always agree what I am saying. My next question to you is not that much interesting, but it is my personal question. Can silence heal emotional bonds?
कुछ ना कुछ कर ही देगा
पाँच
Silence can be incredibly healing for emotional bonds. Sometimes when we're really hurting or have hurt someone, space and quiet can be what we need to process without any pressure. Like if someone's grieving or they're really angry, sometimes giving them some space to sit with their feelings in silence is way more helpful than trying to talk. Does that connect with what you were thinking?
शांत हूँ अबे के साथ
So, Maya, my next question is how do introverts often value silence more than extroverts? I am this question is absolutely right because introverts value silence, but I am an extrovert person, so I don't value silence. That's why I'm telling you I hate silence, and that's thing.
Yeah, that's a really insightful point. Introverts recharge through solitude and quiet their energy from being around people and noise, so silence can actually feel draining or isolating. It totally makes sense that you'd prefer some background buzz rather than total quiet since you're an extrovert. That self awareness is spot on.
Yes, my self awareness is on. My next question is that to you is only 5 seconds. My next question to you is how does silence shape moments of love and connection?
That's beautiful. I think in loving moments, silence becomes this container for intimacy. It's not awkward, it's comfortable and safe. Think about sitting close to someone you love and just existing in the quiet together without needing to fill every moment with talk. That shared silence becomes a way to experience closeness.
So okay, guys, that's for my for
Take your
today's
time
video and another
thinking about that one
with
moment or
another
so.
topic.
When you're ready for the next
Allah
question, just
Hafiz,
let me know.
Pakistan, Mansoor, Zindabad. Allah Hafiz.